That's a good luck sign right there. You know, I hate my job sometimes. And you think, oh, Zeos, but you're playing with Stax. And Stax are the best. And they are. But when I have one pair of Stax, and it's the first time I ever heard it, it's alone. It sits alone with no baggage. Hi. Yeah, I love my job. But this is the times when it's like, fuck. Because these are the L300 Limited Stax. And the issue is, they use the same driver or a very similar driver to the L700 Stax. So when I did the original L300, L500, then L700, it was a progression of better. And it was just like, wow, I like the L3s, I like the L5s. They're always going to be electrostats to me. But you get to the L700s and it's a different ballgame. The problem now is, these are my personal pair of L700s, and these are the ones I keep on my desk, and when shit's getting real, it's like, put those on and feel it. Hi. So now, someone loaned me the L700, the L300 Limiteds, which cost approximately half as much. They cost $740 on StaxAudio.com. You can get them for $740. And it's an 80th anniversary edition. 80 years, I want to point out. Stax, 80 years. The structure and drivers share the most features found in its successor, the L700s. Limited model in black finish with gold plate, blah, 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 blah. 800 units. Own yours today. And it's $740. Meanwhile, the L700 here, my baby, the one that I decided and invested in, is $1,425. That's not a little. That's not like, well, this is this and this is 20% more. That's double. So I have to sit here using my ears and tell you if it's worth it, because it's a completely different head. It's the cheaper headband. It's the ones that you'll find on an L300, L500. Just the ones that slide. And it's just made of this. I mean, come on, baby. I got you. Like, you're just looking at it going, And then all you see different is the headband. The more expensive one has the clicky, adjustable headband. Again, all Stax stuff feels like you're going to break it as soon as you touch it, regardless of how high-end you get, until you get to, like, the 007s, 009s, and they actually decide they want it to, like, not destroy itself. So this headband is better on the L700s. Better. None of them are great. And then the pads that the 300 Limiteds come with are the L500 pads, not the L300s, not the pancakes. These actually have some support, but the owner who sent me these sent them to me with the $110 L700 pads, the leather ones, or the leatherette. I don't even know if they're real leather. All I know is they're nice. You pop them on, and they're square, and they're stitched, and they make the spacing just... I put them on basically immediately. Because there's no way you could spend this sort of money, even the lower end, $700, $740, and not improve the comfort. Just touch. Remu is my wallpaper, because these are all best girl things. Everything here is great. The question is one of these a RAM? Is one a REM and a RAM, or are they both REMs? There is no Amelias on this table. Let's just put it that way. One little quirk I'd like to point out before I move on is this came with it, and I've never seen it's a cap for the pins. And I'm just upset that I did the 207s, the L300s, 500s, then I bought my L700s, and none of them had this cap. So why, Stax, why now would you decide to include this awesome little cap to cover the ends of your pins when you're traveling with it so they don't get bent and bounced? That's fucking amazing. Right, can we talk about this cap for like 4 or 5 more minutes like Z should do? No, we're not going to. That's it. It's got a cap. The wire, this is my L700 wire, and it has the gold lining, which tells you that it is the best. And the other ones on the L500 and 700 are silver, but not this one. This one's blue. And why is it blue, Stax? Why is it blue? I'll tell you why it's blue. Because, where is it? It has the new design, wide bandwidth, high capacity, oxygen-free cable. Ah, it's blue. I don't know. I don't buy into the whole. Although here's the thing, I say I don't buy into cables, like high-end cables. Like, I like nice cables. It's a nice built cable. It's got convenience. It's got flexibility. It's nice. I like nice cables. Ooh, that's nice. When you start going from copper to silver, you're like, well, the silver smooths out the blurs. Like, I'm gonna really need to have a measurement rig tell me that, and not you. And I'm pointing to everyone who's like, oh, my silver cables for when I want to tone the mids and no, stop. But I'll digress for electrostats. Since we are pushing 580 volts come out of this box that go into these boxes to make sound. And that's very, very high voltage. It's not a lot of amperage, but there's a reason that you can't detach the cables, is because if you could, there's a chance you'd spark and sparks. These are dangerous. Don't get out of the shower and get into an electrostatic headphone, by the way. So let's pull off, let's see, we're running that. Oh, by the way, let me tell you what the setup is that is powering this whole fucking, I would say catastrophe, but it's actually the most beautiful and elegant solution I've ever come up with. So this is the SMSL SU8, and it is a balanced DAC with a remote control, and I'm feeding it with fiber optic from my optical splitter in back there. So that's getting signal directly from Fubar through Wasapi, and then XLR out's going into my own S7, which is my big headphone amplifier, and that's what usually is on my desk, and its job is to power through 4-pin into a wire I made in the IFI IESL, which is an electrostatic converter. Because unlike a Stax amp like that has the amps built in, more like the Woo-Wee and this, is you get to plug in either speaker amps or this or the other IDSD Pro, iPro, whatever, the iPro, and you can power electrostats using other things. So this is just a converter box. It's a very expensive converter box. Really expensive. More expensive than the limited editions, but not quite as expensive as the 700. So this is an expensive fucking desk. Like $250. I paid $4, but this is like a $600 headphone amp, and this fucking thing's like $1,100. This is a lot of shit to deal with just electrostats. And it comes down to the point like, well, just buy big planars. Big old planars. Buy some big old planars. Zeos and be done with it. And it's like, you know when you're listening to electrostats. Do you ever listen to the Orpheus? If you haven't listened to the new Orpheus, the HE1s, go listen to the new Orpheus. They're electrostatic. Sennheiser doesn't sell electrostats. Well, they do. It's one pair. It's the HE1s. And that's why when you put them on, you know there's something different. So what's the difference between these two things? You want to talk about the difference between these two? Or do you want me to talk about these as if, I don't want them to pick up because they're fucking identical. Talk about these like as if you've never heard of them. Electrostatics are just another category of fucking sound device. Are you listening to music on speakers or on headphones? On speakers or on headphones? Or on electrostatics? It's just another fucking third category. Ear speakers, I'll call them ear speakers and I'll choke you. Although I do have a rig set up back there that lets me put Bluetooth speakers on my shoulders, and that really is more like ear speakers than these are like ear speakers, but shh, we digress. Back to music for a second. I really want to finish this Yoko Kanno song because it's amazing, and it's Diggin' My Potato, alternate version. And now we change to a different electrostatic ear speaker. Hold on. All right. Do they sound the same? How long far into this video are we? 7 minutes? 8 minutes? 8 minutes now? They don't sound 100% identical. That was the thing. That was the thing everyone was speculating. Well, since it's using L700 drivers, are they just cheaping out in the hardware around it, like giving you shittier pads and shittier headband and then bringing the price down? And that's a possibility, but I'm switching back and forth, and I tried using both and I can't. You got to use one or the other. And there is a difference. Now, it could just be that these are pretty much new. They maybe have 20, 25 hours on them before this review. And these are my babies for the last, 6, 7 months. So these have hundreds of hours on them and these don't. And that could be it. Because headphones do break in and change, and I don't know how it quite works with electrostats. But it's still a membrane. It's still something physically moving. And if you stretch it out just that half a millimeter more on the flex, then it's going to change the sound entirely. But they don't sound the same. But again, I don't know if I enjoy the 300s more than the 700s, because the way these sound compared to those is actually less bunched up. Let me try to explain this. Imagine you're sitting on a stage and there's a band playing. A full brass band. We got the trumpets, we got the guy with the fucking bongo drums, trumpet guy, violin guy, and they're all just sitting a little bit too close to you. Like they're here. And that's L700s. You are fucking hearing. You could look to your left and touch the dude's face who's playing the trumpet. Like, holy shit. With the L300 Limiteds, you can't quite touch his face. He's there. You could reach over and touch his face. It's just a little bit. You got a little more room to breathe in the L300 Limiteds. It's just everything seems a little bit further back. You're not losing much in the way of detail, or any in the way of detail. You're gaining and this is 6 inches further away from the instruments. And I don't know if you call that a benefit or a detriment, but I fucking enjoy listening to the L300s. They just, I tried to determine if there was a low end change, and I think the L700s have 4% more low end. And that's an arbitrary value because I heard one real drum, and I went, oh shit, back that up, switch this. Did you hear it? It was more. Did you hear it was more? And so I'm doubting myself, thinking that it's got more low end in the L700s. Because here's the thing, they're my babies, and I paid for them and I own them, and if these are better than them, then what the fuck do I do? Then what do I do? Then these end up on a yard sale and I have to spend money on these, but I'm telling you these are better. Not better. Let's just say that the gap between the L300s and L500s to the L700s was a worthwhile gap. You go from those to the L700s and you've made a leap, and it's worth the money. This fucks that whole ratio up, because you can get L700s and spend $1,400, or you get L300 Limiteds and spend $700, half, and you're getting 94.2% the exact same sound. As far as detail and imaging, and the low end is identical. It's identical low end. The treble might be a little bit higher on the 700s. Again, it's like that flip a coin. Either I'm lying or I'm not lying. This is why this review is hard. Review of a single pair of Stax that no one ever heard of is easy. When you have to compare and tell people that this half-price Stax might be right on the same level. If I was walking around in an audio show, like Can Jam, and I own these, and these were on a table, and I just heard these without these next to it, I'd have a really hard time telling you why they're not L700s. Only by doing this shit and switching and looking at REM and then back and forth and then playing with speaker cones, and then only then can I actually sit here and give you any confidence in okay, there's this difference. These sound like you're in a bigger room. This is the 300s, by the way. The 300s give you the sound of just a bigger space for music. These still give you a space. It's just a foot shorter and a little bit shorter ceiling and a little more concentrated ball of sound. So now that I've said that, and I'm pretty sure I just saved anyone who's looking into the level of Stax, I just saved you $700. So congratulations. So let's put you on the side. What are you doing? Okay. Hold on. I got this. I got this, boys. It's been a lot of wire fondling. Ball fondlers. Wire fondlers. I'm making that show. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Just one last listen. Okay, this is happening in my brain. And now, unplug those. They're done for this review. I don't know why it's upside down, but that's the way they do it. It's slightly... It's not softer. I want to say the word softer, because that's a bell. That's like a legit... Like, you can't... That is a tone. You're hearing the hiss and I want to say it's softer, but it's not. It's a sound going from 2 inches wide to 3 inches wide. And that makes it feel less concentrated. It's like a slightly less concentrated sound, but it's still good. It's not like, oh, they dulled it out. It's not like going to X2s, where I love my X2s, but my X2s don't keep a ball of sound. They're just like, fuck it, back up. It's chillax. These might be the steps that I remember the L300s and 500s going, and I'm still on Stax, and I'll compare these against nothingness in a second, was L300s, L500s were very narrow, very precise, very balanced. Then you went to the L700 and it felt wider. There was this big sound around it. And these might go the same way and just a little bit wider. If they charged more for these than those, and it was in the same dressing and headband, and they just called it, I don't know, the L750s, I could completely see that happening. It's not like I'm putting these on and going, these don't sound even near as good as those. It's literally fucking impossible. They're the same driver. You open up the hole here and go, oh, yeah, there it is. Because that's what's in here. It's, oh, God, don't break. No, don't break. I'm afraid if I move it too fast, it might break. Handling Stax is like handling a 70, well, actually not a 75, like a 95-year-old Japanese man. Like, come with me, Mr. Yoshida. And if you pull him a little bit too hard, his limbs are just going to detach, and you're going to be like standing there, and there's going to be this dead Japanese guy. So you just got to be like, no, come with me. We will gently open you up and place you on the head. People like vinyl because it's a ritual. It's one of the things that when I talk about vinyl, finally, it's going to be about, people like the ritual and putting on Stax is a ritual because you have to not break them. Every time you touch them, it's like, put them down gently. Wrap them in a pillow. Okay. Now onto these alone, compared to everything. Ha! Here, Sublime. Shit, top of a Smith & Wesson. And every time I hear Stax, good Stax, and these qualify as good fucking Stax. Oh, blue towel now. These qualify as good fucking Stax. It makes me question why I bother with any other headphones. Why awake all night? The low end is... Everything about a Stax, everything about Stax and electrostats is just faster. It's all about speed. It's just, I was trying to explain this to Pasta. That speaker, the bigger that speaker, you get the subwoofer down there and you say, okay, make sound. And it's like, all right, hold on. That's why subwoofers make low end, because they're not very fast. They're like a 10-inch driver. It's like, And that's why SVS is good, because they put 5,000 fucking peak watts on it. It goes, really fucking fast. But you can't beat the weight of a driver. It's still heavy. So you go smaller and smaller and smaller. So you get this, and that can move fast and produce frequencies. And then you go up to the AMT, and it's all about going lighter and faster. Lighter and faster. So electrostatics are as light as you can get. Because even planars, even these planars, because basically a headphone, a normal dynamic headphone, has a driver like this, and it's a paper cone or plastic cone or whatever the fuck's in the headphone, and there's coils of metal, and it's magnets that move it. And there's a weight to that driver, and it's not a lot. 3 grams or something, but it still has to move it. Planars like this, and this is the Virum 1 prototype. You see in there? You see that, like those lines? Yeah, that's a mylar or whatever material you want to use film, and then those lines are the electrical coils. So instead of being on the back of a... So basically, planars use a giant diaphragm with wires glued to it. So what does that mean? That means you've got much less mass and a much bigger surface area, because now you're using the whole thing to move it, but there's still wires on it. So now you've probably reduced the weight of the driver thing by half, maybe more than half on really expensive planars, and you've increased the surface area. So how do you beat that? How do you beat that, Zeos? Well, how's this? Let's look at the back of this, because you can see right through it. This is a mylar, or I think it's mylar, film, narrower than any planar could get, because there's no wires on it. Instead, there's a coating on it, a magical coating of mist dust, of like nano dust. And all that nano coating does is conduct electricity. And the inside and outside of the nano coat, so it's just mylar with dust on it. Get lighter than that, I fucking dare you. And then they have just electrical panels on the left and right, and it charges this way. And what it does is it pushes and pulls that mylar coating. So that mylar coating that's making the sound itself has no weight on it. That's weight. Planar, less weight, but still weight, wires and magnets. This is static electricity just fucking this magic thing in the middle. So when I say fast, you have to understand what that means. I mean, how do I put this into a great... I'm trying to... My brain is going into... We'll explain it to people like you mean it. Imagine if you're wearing, like, weights on your arms and legs. And, you know, you can still get up and move around and do things. You can cook breakfast and you got 3-pound weights in your arms. And then you do things. And then you take off half that weight. And, oh, you're stronger now. You could do things much faster. Now you take off all the weights and then start just shaving off muscle and skin so that you are so fucking light that when you go to grab a fly out of there, it's like, you just, boom, you got it. That's what this is doing with every instrument, every fucking sound, every bump. It makes it immediately and then it stops and then it makes the next sound. And it's just fucking ridiculous. That is the gorgeous fucking fact of electrostatics. It's so fast. Microseconds. Little details that would have to be, like, say someone's recording a violin and someone in the background drops a chapstick. And it goes... That speaker driver would have to be doing violin things, and then... Oh, I got to include the chapstick drop in it. Okay. And this can do all those sounds. It's infinite. Faster sounds than probably the human ear can hear. That might be a lie, but it feels like it sometimes. So you get this like immediate no delay. It's like watching Twitch stream with 0.00000 delay. Where you say, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Fine. Everyone's fast. Also, these are the most open headphones you could pretty much get. I mean, I put them on, and it's like... I could tell there's something on my ears, but it's just... There's a mylar film that's so thin, it's not blocking any sound. Even those, even planars that are open, real open, you kind of can tell that there's sound being blocked. You put these on, and I could hear the feedback interference. Nothing's playing right now, but I can still hear the feedback interference through my fucking JBL in the corner. It doesn't block any sound. I'm just sitting in this room and I'm waiting for something to happen. So then when you have music up here, the natural sound of that is just... Whoa. This is epic score, by the way. Pharaoh's Curse. Oh, the guitar. Mike Alt, It Can Be, from the Rocket League soundtrack. the reverb, the reverb of a sound that then fades away on a normal headphone, and I say normal meaning everything you see in front of you. When that sound fades down to a much smaller level, like it's fading away, like you should be able to hear it, but it's still going in electrostats. It's just, everything's just extended. You could hear down to the most finite little fucking 1,000th of a volt. It's just, you still hear it. So comparing these to like other headphones, like, well, how do they compare to the Argons? Don't ask me that. Don't ask me how they compare to 400i's or modified M1060Cs or fucking advanced alphas or anything else on my wall. They don't. Nothing compares. Once you can afford electrostats, once you have a desk setup where you don't have to move, you get them, and then you're done. The end. I still maintain that the 007s and 009s, I don't like their form factor as much as I like this form factor. As much as you have to, old Japanese man touch these. Oh, God. I still think that the surface area on this benefits more than the round pads and metal and leather. I feel like it's a luxury thing, but I think these still sound more. They just sound more what I look for when I look for a Stax and an electrostatic. Now, other companies, King Sound, haven't delivered quite this level, and other ones are trying, and I hope they succeed. I want there to be 10 electrostatic ear speakers to choose from. And there aren't right now. Like 10 brands from 10 companies. I'd love to see it. But until that happens, we are sort of not stuck, but we are graced with the wonderful, wonderful Stax. So L300 Limiteds, it'll always sound better than anything. Well, how does it sound, Zeos? Better than everything you've listened to. Anything you want open back. Anything you want natural. They're not bass kings. They don't hurt you with treble. The fucking imaging is Stax. It's just its own fucking category. Like, what is it? 1 through 10? No, Stax. Well, this is a 7. The headband is a 7, and the wire is attached, and it's heavy. And I'm actually going to probably cut this split on mine and separate it down further because I hate this big, heavy fucking thing. But, yeah, that's a 6. But then the speed of the bass is Stax, and then it is Stax. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, I want to invest, and I want to get a pair of these, you got to keep one thing in mind. That's the cheapest amp that you can buy. It's $300 and something. And I'm not using this for this review because it sounds cheaper than this, obviously. So it was a pain in the... I could have just come on my desk, giggity, and then plugged in there and then did the review, but I didn't. I set all of this stuff up so I can give them the absolute maximum fidelity. Your best bet, if you're going for Stax Energizers, if you don't... You have to buy these new, because they're brand new, limited edition, the ones I'm talking about. You don't have to buy the Energizer new. You can go to eBay, find any old Stax Energizer. Pretty much anything you spend more than $200 on is probably going to be quality. Big old Japanese mofo. Do that instead of buying that. If you have $300 to spend on a Stax Energizer, get something used off eBay. Just trust me on that. Just go with it. I have to sound demo these now, and it's going to come out. It's going to come out amazingly. You know how I judge great headphones? Like great, like beyond levels of is when I put on a song, and even if I don't like the song, I can't stop listening to it because hitting the next track button where it breaks the sound and starts new sounds hurts. And that's what these do. That's what almost every pair of Stax has done to me. And when I get it in like a regular headphone, like the ATH M60Xs, it was actually like, oh, I don't want to change tracks because then it will break what I'm listening to. That's good. Okay, I'm very satisfied with this. Again, if you're going to buy them, do change these pads out. You can live with these pads. You can live with them, but they're not anywhere near as nice as the actual L700 pads. They're just not. Links to these. I'll even link to the L700s. They're both in Stax Audio. The IFI, the Aoun, I think is on Amazon. I can link to that. This is definitely on Amazon. None of you are buying this whole... If anyone buys this whole setup, please comment that you're a crazy bastard who bought everything on this desk. Links to Remu. She needs to be in your wallpaper, even though no one's running this aspect ratio. Links to the Patreon, which helped me buy half this crap and then sell half this crap, because I do sell from the 1st to the 10th. I have yard sales, things that companies send me that I'm like, all right, that's great, but now it needs to go. I'll sell to you. Things that I've bought with the Patreon money, $400 speakers. All right, I'll take a loss. I just need to get them out of the apartment. If you want to support viewers like you or reviews like this, please check that out. Check out HiFiGuides.com. It's being worked on as we speak. I don't know when this review is coming out, but it should still be being worked on. And eventually there'll be an electrostatics selector, and you'll be able to go, give me these. And the forums there should be amazing when they're done. And I think I'm done here. Check out the sound demo in the description. You'll get to hear what I'm talking about. And you just got to compare the sound demo of this to anything else. Just anything else. Even if the songs are the same, you'll hear what the difference is. So yeah, next time. New GoPro case, no!